Oh, I forgot to do the music. There we go. 3, 2, 1.
Marcus brings the heat, no filter in sight. Jason's got the insights, always gets it right. Sean's the wild card with a laugh in the night. On FolkLOOR, they banter about the latest fight. FolkLOOR podcast, stories non-stop. Entertainment, gossip, and tech's new crop. Loud opinions, like a punk rock bop. Marcus, Jason, Sean, they never drop.
Welcome back to another episode. What is that? Welcome back to another episode of the FolkLOOR podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Marcus. I'm here with Sean Voyage and Jason Top Rope Barley. How's it going?
Good. We're winning the production game today.
No, I don't know if you realize that was Marcus's best fade out I've heard in 14 episodes.
Yeah?
That was smooth as silk. That was buttery.
Well, you know, I felt a lot of pressure after messing up that intro in the beginning, so.
Wow, no, that was not. That was almost as smoothie milk chocolatey as this Hershey's I'm downing right now.
That's saying something.
You know what I noticed is that Hershey's goes really well with Crystal Geyser water.
I have never paired those two.
What tasting notes
Yeah,
does the water bring out?
It's a nice pairing. So there's so much.
Okay, I asked what tasting notes.
Oh, you asked the question?
Yeah.
We need the tasting notes.
What are the
legs?
Notes that
it's like a I think garden hose, crinkled eucalyptus, and Volvo vinyl, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
that's awesome.
It is awesome. So I realized that today we have no plan, which I think it's going to end up being our best show ever because we have no plan.
Yeah. We do not have a plan.
Fueled by existential terror.
Yeah. So I thought maybe what we could do is I wanted to ask you guys if there was any news you cared about and maybe some news you didn't care about this week.
I can tell you some news that I don't care about. Is the TSA announcing that you no longer have to take your shoes off at the airport because of all of the things that they could fix. that is the least important one to me.
I just kind of want to know what their standard was for that one.
Yeah, we haven't had a shoe bomb in 25 years,
right?
I guess.
Well, we have had a shoe bomb one.
Oh, really?
That's why they started it because somebody
the Unibomber, the shoe bomber,
shoe bomber,
the shoe bomber. So that's the only one that actually makes space. You're right. So. I was like, I guess they're like, shoe bombers. That was a thing of the past.
That's a really good point because I would think like, okay, if I'm going to think of all the things, right? Like, you got 4 ounces of conditioner, like pert conditioner. Nope, that's not going to make it. Okay, I've got
my cigar torch.
Yeah, torch, or I got some tweezers because I get splinters. I do a lot of woodwork. I'm like, nope, sorry, that's going to take down this 757. But
or your laptop having to be taken out of the bag because for reasons.
Yeah. So it would be nice to get to the bottom of why the shoes. Why did the shoes get the hall pass today?
Maybe the original shoe bomber was a plant, and they've known that all along.
You know what I think it is? You know what I think? Hey,
I'm getting so cynical in my old age.
I got an honest answer. I think I know why. All roads lead to money, right? It's the one thing that you can't resell because when you take the people's shoes, you got to give them back. Everything else, you get to keep it.
Oh,
it's not a revenue maker.
Has
I
there
want to
ever
be able
been
to
a
leave my
single
belt on.
has there ever been a single instance ever of someone not being able to take their shoes on an airplane? Like, I just don't think that I don't think that exists.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In terms
you're
of
right.
there, you can't take a torch if you leave a pocket knife, matches, those sort of things. You can't take on. But I've never seen an instance where they scan your laptop and go, oh, rejected.
Gotta leave that.
Right. Right. And there's never been an instance where they scan your shoes and say, oh, sorry, you can't take your shoes on the thing. And so I think this is just a way of, like, it's one of those nice things the government does to make you think, oh yeah, I have more freedoms today than I did yesterday.
I think you're right.
Giving. Well,
but
that was my
meanwhile,
first thought.
yeah, but
Is
meanwhile
they're
they
giving
just
back the ability to keep my shoes on.
I think you're actually right. I think you're right. It's just a slow drip campaign to just keep you just happy enough.
Yeah.
Like you won the day. Well, okay, Marcus, what news don't you care about?
Well,
Or care about?
I don't I mean, well, I did care about the Epstein files being released, and now I'm just completely black-pilled on Epstein files. Like I just don't. It's never gonna come. We're never gonna see it. And we've been suckered into this idea that they are going to be released, and there's going to be convictions, and there's going to be criminal prosecutions, and now suddenly all the PDFs are just they're the only ones happy and care about the news.
Ooh, you just gave me a good show idea. PDFs and pedos. There's something there. We could workshop.
Well, you can't
that later.
say the other word on social media without being deranked.
Oh,
so
really?
That's why you say PDF file.
Oh, I didn't
Like an Adobe PDF file.
I learned something new from you guys every day. So when I say Adobe, if I go, oh, dude, that guy over there is full Adobe, we know.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Everybody knows what that means. Yeah.
Hey, that doesn't make me mad to create a bad association with Adobe.
No, not at all.
Those guys are vultures. Adobe.
Don't you love the slavery to Adobe software?
Like I went to go open a PDF the other day, and I had like people at my front door wanting to like make me to take a second mortgage out. I was like, geez, yes. I just want to open the PDF. They're like, well, you probably need a subscription to do that.
It's crazy. I got my first Adobe software that I owned legally by charging a client that I was going to do video work for or something the exact cost of the suite, and then I just used his money to buy it, and so I remember doing that. So now you can't do that anymore. It's crazy. Like you have to have the $70 subscription, and I know everybody's talking about DaVinci because DaVinci is a lot cheaper. It's a one-time fee and all this sort of stuff. But After Effects and Photoshop and all these other things, you have to have those too. So it's
so do you think though DaVinci, there is a free version, don't you think DaVinci has to be chipping in to Adobe's pricing or to their business? And second part is, don't you see Adobe's price possibly coming down soon because a lot of people, every other filmmaker I talk to is moving to DaVinci to resolve?
I would think that you would think it would go down in order to keep people from going to DaVinci. But I think with all the investment in AI and stuff that Adobe is doing, they can't.
Yeah. I think the thing is I think you nailed it. If you've got Photoshop or Illustrator or After Effects, you're kind of if you give up a Premiere, you're giving up the whole suite.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of filmmakers use DaVinci a lot, but for something, let's say for the workflow of FolkLOOR, where we're going back and forth between Photoshop and and even like audio editing and stuff. You need Audition. Well, I mean, I guess you could use. I guess DaVinci would definitely replace Audition with their audio power is pretty powerful. But like Photoshop, there's no comparison. You could use GIMP, which is open source, but the time it takes to learn that, I don't think there's a comparison to After Effects at all. Especially with all the developer plugins and stuff like that. Like I don't know but I would think that that DaVinci, the guys at Blackmagic and DaVinci are probably eyeing After Effects, because I think if they can get After Effects and Photoshop, like then it's over for Adobe for sure.
I think it's awesome that Blackmagic is an Aussie company. We'd never expect that. They're Australia. You don't think of, like, when you think of technology, electronics, you don't think of Australia.
I used to love watching the Blackmagic keynotes at like CES or whatever, and yeah, that Australian guy, and he's just super calm, and like he looks like he's just not stressed out or bothered by anything, and
because they go to work like 3 days a week over there.
That's because
they have to like walk on alligators to get to work. Once you've walked on all the alligators,
and the birds that like swing down from the trees and bite you.
Oh my gosh, you guys! What are you guys watching? Like Disney movies? What Australia?
Everything I know about Australia comes from
reference
80s.
like some movies and like a Disney movie. Crocodile Dundee. That's hilarious.
Yeah, everything I know about Australia comes from Crocodile Dundee. That's
yeah, and Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, there you go. That's a very authentic reference point. There's blooming onions all over Australia.
Yeah,
they
just grow out of the ground there, right?
Yeah, that's what the kangaroos eat, isn't it?
I like how our conversation about the news turned into just a super nerdy tech talk, but that's what's so great about this podcast.
Yeah. That's right. So going back, I want to go back to the Epstein stuff, because I watched a video this morning with CoffeeZilla. And for those that don't know, CoffeeZilla is this YouTuber. He's got millions of subscribers, and he usually exposes, like, he does investigative journalism exposing crypto scams and stuff like that. That's really what he's well known for and built his platform on. But he did these side videos on his second channel that, last I looked at, like 1.5 million views. It was dropped yesterday, and he was going over the specifics of the Epstein footage that they released. So the DOJ released 10 hours of video, and everybody, like Fox News, all the major news networks, they're all pointing to, these doors on the side that has 46 on it, and everybody's pointing at that. And CoffeeZilla was the only person I've ever seen that actually went to go and look at the DOJ reports that the DOJ released back when Epstein died, that showed the layout of the prison cells and where that, it specifically pointed out where that camera was, because remember, all the other cameras died. And so when you watch that video, there's a few tiny potato quality pixels in
Did you
the
say
very
potato quality?
Potato quality. Yeah.
I like that.
You haven't heard that reference? Your phone has the quality.
There's a lot of things I've missed today. Yeah.
Your camera phone has the quality of a potato. But y'all haven't heard that?
No.
Okay.
No. Oh, Jason, you haven't either?
Okay. I haven't heard of that either.
Oh,
no.
yeah. I think it's like a
Idaho
third
thing.
world. Like your phone came from like a third world. That's why that's where that came from. But there's just a really poor low resolution quality of about like 3 little lines. And those are in that video of 10 hours of footage. Those 3 blurry little lines are the stairs that lead to the cell block where Epstein was housed, all the way across the hall of this camera footage. And so anyway, I was just like, holy cow, the media is lying to us so much.
Oh, wait, did that surprise you somehow?
No.
Were you surprised by
no,
that?
but when it's that obvious,
yeah,
like when it's just like,
it's always obvious.
Everybody's sharing this footage and saying, "Oh, the trash can moves at this point," or "There's a minute of footage." Well, if there's a minute of footage removed, he couldn't have been murdered. But a minute of footage is more than enough time to walk up a flight of stairs. if you accidentally like if your shadow like
By the way,
anyway.
that whole minute of footage thing kind of made me laugh because they make it sound like it's like the old days, like, well, we had to take the film out of the canister and replace it and put it back in.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I'm like, what do you mean
Right.
a minute to change the what? The lens? No. The battery? No. The hard drive? No. But I got a question for you, Marcus. Will you put up the video? Because what I love about this video is it reminds me of my college days. This doesn't even look like a prison. It just looks like college dorms.
Yeah,
Can you put that up?
I'm pulling it up. Yeah,
I want to ask the
with me.
audience. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Doesn't this look like when you lived in the college dorms?
The 1 minute where the cameras aren't going is a plot point in a heist movie. That's
yeah. And all the numerologists out there are really worked up that the fact that you're focused on door 46. It's a very relevant number to certain people.
Dude, I had that same thought. I had that exact same thought.
What is the significance of this number?
All right,
there you go.
So
yep.
this is just a screenshot.
There's a Domino's delivery guy. Any minute's going to walk up to one of those doors.
Yeah. This is the basically all for 10 hours of footage. You see this guy with a garbage bucket. No big deal. But what I need to point out is that right here is my mouse showing up on the screen.
Oh, your mouse looks great.
These 3 little lines right here is the stairway entrance to Epstein's cell
stairs.
block.
Those are Epstein's stairs.
Yeah. So
I think Weezer is going to do a song about that.
Yeah. So this whole video. Now remember how important this is, because Kash Patel was on Joe Rogan talking about how he saw the video evidence and he was convinced from the video evidence that you will see that there's no possible way Epstein was murdered.
Can I ask you this though, Marcus? Did you notice? I saw some of those videos when people would say that there was something weird about that. They were real cagey about it, though. I don't know if Patel was, but when other people
everybody's cagey about it.
No, but even Bongino was.
Everybody's cagey. I've never seen people.
Yeah.
Like unable to, like you can't. It's almost like, honestly, it's almost as if like your kids are looking for the goldfish that you flushed down the toilet that died, and your kids are like, "Hey, Daddy, have you seen my goldfish?" And
nope.
You're like, "Oh, no,
haven't seen him.
I haven't seen it at all." Like it's the weirdest thing.
It's like when the really good liars and bad liars, they really come out of the woodworks. It's like, oh, you're not one of the good liars, and you see it right away. The funny thing about all of this that we're talking about is this was the story I don't care about.
Here we are, 18 minutes into a conversation about the story you don't care about.
And here I am. I fell into.
I really was trying to black pill on the Epstein stuff today, and then I saw the CoffeeZilla video, and so maybe I do care. I do care about it a lot, but it's like, how much more can we take? Like, this isn't like moon landing conspiracy theory where you're really putting in the work.
Yeah.
Like this is the stuff they've given us.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense.
I want to make one. I have a couple of recommendations. One was for Christy Nome. I already made that recommendation a couple of weeks ago, so we'll take that off the table. Christy, you got my message, didn't you? But Pam, dear Pam, next time, don't hold a conference and hand out folders and get everybody excited. Like you could have totally bypassed that whole shtick. Like, and you'd probably be in a way less hot water. Like no one anywhere told you needed to like have a conference and hand out folders to influencers. So I would just say, don't do that again. And things might go better. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah. And I still just think what is going on, and
It's kind of a reality show. I mean, it's like it's like Showtime.
Yeah, but it's like reality show, or it's like a reality show that you would put on cable access.
Yeah, it's like Veep meets Wally George. That reference is going to fall on like 4.5 people with our audience, but for those of you that know, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Now,
hey, Jason, we the band wanted to take 8 days instead of 4 for 4th of July. We said absolutely not, because you have some work to do on Wednesday, and I think one of the things they need to do is I think they need to do one of the intro songs to one of our famous segments. Isn't that right? Is that right?
I don't know.
Yes.
might be true. We can find out.
Here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's time for Jason's Trivia Lesson.
All right. Today's trivia lesson. We all know that FM radio was invented in 1933.
What's FM stand for?
FM. Oh my gosh. FM frequency modulation.
Oh, I
Is
thought
that
it was
right?
Stumpy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. So FM radio
Sounds
was
right.
invented in 1933 and could deliver better quality audio than AM radio. But top 40 single-driven AM radio continued to rule the airwaves until the 1970s because powerful corporations like RCA had invested too much money into AM infrastructure. But in 1967, the FCC ruled that AM radio stations rebroadcasting onto FM channels was monopolizing the airwaves. So suddenly there were all of these airwaves that had to be available, that they had to release from the rebroadcasting of AM radio. And there weren't enough top 40 singles for everything that there was. So FM stations popped up all over the country devoted to niche audiences. Jazz stations, funk stations, R&B stations, every kind of genre suddenly found audiences. And by 1970, there were stations devoted to playing entire albums all of the way through. Now, the first DJ to play an entire LP start to finish was Tom Donahue on KMPX in San Francisco.
That's KMPX, San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah. So after the FCC ruling, he famously declared AM radio is dead, went straight to the studio and aired what album from start to finish? The first album that was ever played start to finish on radio was by Tom Donahue.
My favorite part. My
You
favorite
have a
part of
year?
that.
1967.
My favorite part of that about that trivia lesson was Tom Donahue famously.
Well, it made Rolling Stone magazine in 1967. The quote was on Rolling Stone magazine, so it's
Like
pretty
when
famous.
you go to that weird hot dog stand in Montebello and it says, you know, Jose's famous, world famous hot dogs. And you're like, I guarantee you, if I go to like Sri Lanka, no one's heard of this guy.
Well,
Can I make a guess as to the artist?
Yes.
Yes.
Elvis.
No,
Ooh.
not a bad guess, but it wasn't Elvis.
60s.
I have some guesses.
Okay.
I have my real ones, and then I have ones that I think a lot of our creative community will be happy to hear that ChatGPT came up with them, and I want to know that no one's going to lose their day job because Chat did a really I don't want to offend Chat, but it just shows you the limitations. But I want to first start with my real answers. Okay.
Okay.
So my real answers are Captain and Tennille.
A little early.
Okay.
Captain and Tennille, 1967.
Okay. Because there were so many of them, and no one listened to these. So this guy probably felt bad for him and probably wanted to just play it all the way through because he's like, no one who is buying this is playing it all the way through. Any Frank Zappa album?
No, that would be depressing if that were the answer.
Okay. Okay. I only got into the band Styx later in their career, but I think they were doing some earlier work. Anything by Styx?
No. Was Styx out in 1967?
Oh, 67?
67, yeah.
Oh, I was in the 70s. Oh, you're right. I wasn't listening. I was so caught up in that famous line. Okay, wait, hold on. I got to rewind the tape a little bit. Mamas and Papas.
That would be a good guess. They were just north of where the Mom and the Papas were from, but no, it was not the Mamas and the Papas.
Now I want to sort of validate our creative community. Some of you out there, you know who you are. You're not really happy about what's happening with AI. So rest assured, these were the answers AI came up with. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. The complete works of Zamfir, master of the pan flute. It's not funny. I got one. Here's one. Led Zeppelin 4.5. Stairlift to Heaven. That's not funny. See?
No, it's not funny.
Captain and Tennille, love will keep us together until the depositions start. And then there were some other really not funny answers.
Yeah, ChatGPT can't write a joke.
No, that's exactly right. And the other ones are so bad that I'm not gonna do that to our audience. But so none of the real guys.
It is interesting that the reason that I ended up going and getting a book about this was because of the Led Zeppelin documentary that just came out, Becoming Led Zeppelin, which is fantastic. But they talk about that all the studios wanted them to do a certain thing, and they said, no, we think FM radio is going to change everything, so we're going to do it our way. And they were right. They completely nailed that FM radio was going to change everything. So
yeah, that's a whole. Can we do a whole episode on FM versus AM? I think there's a lot there, a lot we can dive into. Maybe that's another. Yeah,
it really is. It was 13. It wasn't even 13 years before FM completely dominated and took over after.
Not with talk radio, it didn't.
Do you guys?
Hey, the talk radio game was strong.
It was
in the early 2000s, all right. So it just did not go away.
Well, you guys know the whole thing that this was a real thing. The Biden administration was trying to fast track a bill to ban AM radios in cars because of safety concerns with something to do with AM frequency and EVs. But the dirty little secret was, do you know why they really wanted to ban AM radio?
Because all the conservatives were on talk radio. Yeah.
I'm telling you, we know some people in our camp that are really good documentary filmmakers. That's one that I want to see get made because it sounds ridiculous when I pitch it. But the whole idea that they're going to ban AM radio because it interfered with a signal in like a Tesla or a Prius, like, come on.
You know, you got to cut off your cell phones when the plane goes on and off.
Yeah, right.
Supposed to be in airplane mode the entire time,
Yeah.
So,
I'm always waiting for that CNN headline, the plane that crashes, and they're like, yeah, Steve, he was texting his wife.
Steve's new iPhone.
Steve didn't go into airplane mode.
Had he not sent that final text to his daughter at soccer camp?
Only time that made sense was when the Samsung phones had the battery that blew up and they got banned. Remember that?
and then they moved their technicians to the Mossad Israel division.
Hey! We're not allowed to talk about Mossad.
So why did your YouTube channel get canceled?
Oh, you can't. I didn't know that. See, I don't read these rules. Yeah. I don't read these. I don't read the terms of service. Okay, I glance over them.
Yeah.
Well, that's why our reach is so low today.
Can you say we here at Lore TV we love Mossad? That's See if we can get a boost.
I can't even say that as
You can't even bring
Wait a
yourself
minute.
to say.
Can we just?
but to be fair, I can't even say that about the CIA as a joke.
Right? Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter. Just any spy agency in general. It's just like, yeah, no.
It's kind of like we have Adobe, right? We've workshopped that. So
I
why
will
don't
say
we just?
the beepers thing is way cooler than than anything the CIA's ever done. I'll give them that one. Okay.
Beepers thing
That
is
we know
pretty
about.
Yeah,
That we know. That's very true.
the beepers thing. Yeah, that's wow. I was going to work in a Radio Shack joke, but it's probably too late for that.
That's really
Shack.
funny to me because I worked at Radio Shack for 5 years.
You did?
I did.
So-
Yeah. Right as they were
Do you have a good Radio Shack story? Because I'd love to hear it.
So yeah, a lot. The best one I have is my manager, who nobody really liked. I'm trying to say this in a way, nobody really liked him, but I think looking back, people go, I respected him. But sort of like an abusive football coach.
Good.
Right?
That's a
Well,
good. Yeah.
He was trying really hard to become a district manager. I'll never forget this. And some other guy, got the promotion and he didn't. He started kicking and throwing and screaming, throwing boxes in the back room, and then just walked out and he just quit. He was there for like 15 years and that was it. He didn't get that promotion. And I think it was a wise decision.
And I miss those stores. Don't you miss? Those are just, sometimes you just go in and buy a diode or a transistor. I had no idea what it did, but I just thought it was cool just to have one, and a soldering iron. Those were cool.
You know, it's not cool.
What?
Inventory reconciliation of those parts drawers.
Yeah, you can't really scan those, huh?
No, I think we were up there to like 5 or 6 in the morning on inventory nights. That was rough. That was really rough. But anyway, you're bringing back a lot of memories.
A lot of memories.
Are suppressed.
Radio Shack.
For a long time.
They're not suppressed by the subconscious.
Yeah.
They're suppressed by the conscious.
Next week, ask me about, do I have any Chuck E. Cheese stories? Now that.
You did divulge one of them on one of the podcasts, but I don't want to. Let's save those. Let's just kind of slow drift those throughout the year.
Yeah. You can ask me. I sold Lotto and cigarettes at Winco for a while, and I've got some good stories.
That's nice. Lotto and cigarettes. So we were talking about. Well, so we talked about all the news we don't care about. Did we get the full round right?
We did, yeah.
We did.
And we didn't even make it to Love Island, which I don't care about at all.
No, we don't care about. Yeah. We don't care about Love Island. I do care about.
I'm a big fan of trash reality television, and I've never watched Love Island.
Yeah, and even you haven't watched Love Island yet.
So that's saying something. By the way, speaking of reality TV, Big Brother starts tomorrow, so just letting everybody know.
Just a free TSA.
Just free. Please.
PSA. Sorry, got TSA on the brain. Free PSA
on the brain.
Stays on the air for several more years.
Can one of you do some deep dive, and let's circle back. Let's circle back next week and figure out why are the shoes all of a sudden okay? Like, what happened? And is it something that happened like a year ago and then had to pass through a bunch of like approval, or is it something that literally happened like 8 days ago? Like, what is it? It had to have been in the works, right?
Can it be an executive? Was it an executive order? Who's head of TSA now?
I don't know. See, we don't even know.
That's a cabinet position, right? We should know that answer.
Whoever is head of TSA was probably is like a former rapper, or I don't know, or maybe a current one. I don't know. TSA is such a we talked already about that. Who was the TSA superhero movie that we talked about? The one where the guy's like, he worked for the TSA and all these things go wrong, and he's trying to stop this guy from bringing a bomb on the plane.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Oh, that was with Jason.
J-
Well, I'm forgetting
It
Jason's
was the
last
guy
name.
from Arrested Development.
Yeah,
Yeah. He played a good bad guy.
Jason Bateman.
Why is his name
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman?
Jason
Yeah.
Bateman.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Lore TV's Dark Holler?
I have.
Absolutely.
So we just got really sucked into that, and that is a good show. I usually don't like those paranormal shows, especially all those ghost hunter shows on like Bravo and all that, because they're just so produced and they're so gimmicky, right? But Dark Holler is the real deal. You guys got to tell me, how did you? What's that guy? Was it Ward Heine?
Yeah,
Ward Heine. Yeah.
He did a really good job, and that story is super spooky, and he doesn't pull any punches. I don't know. I feel like.
You know how I met him?
How did you? What's the story there?
At college, Liberty University. I think we did. I think he hired me, or I hired him. We were filming something. I don't remember. I wouldn't even know. But that's how we met. Or at least that's how we became Facebook friends. I mean, I don't think we didn't have I don't think we had much of a relationship at all. I hope not, because that'd be really embarrassing to say that. But no, we just became Facebook friends. I think we did one thing together one evening, and then throughout the years of just following his video work and stuff on Facebook, and then I had a production that I needed to hire a DP or a second camera, and hired him. He was available, so he came out and did that that week for a few days, and so that's when I really got to see his work. And then once we launched, we were planning in the very early stages to launch Lore. He reached out and said, "Hey, I'm working on this documentary series about the supernatural and demon possession, but it's like ghost hunters, but with like way more authenticity." You know, and so yeah, I saw like the trailer or whatever he sent me, and I was like, we just have to have this. And so Dark Holler was the first show to fund on Lore TV, although it funded during beta, but it was the first show that premiered on Lore TV.
Oh wow!
And it is still, I think, to this day, at the top of all the programming on Lore. So
yeah, I could
just
see
phenomenal.
why it draws you in. I mean, you don't turn away from it. You know, some of the shows kind of can drag on without giving away everything to the audience. It had to be somewhat of a controversial topic with our audience, because some people might have been weary of exposing themselves to that particular subject matter. But it's really interesting how it ties in faith and all of these things. I don't know. Did you have that? Did you have that experience where people are like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, there was a lot of people that didn't want to watch it, but because it not only did it fund first, it was the only thing to watch on Lore. So it was the only thing to watch. People just like, I'll give it a shot, and then they just got hooked and sucked in, and they were like, wow, this is actually really good. And so I think to some degree it opened people's minds to, hey, you know, a faith-based show, if you want to call it, I hate even using that term, but a faith-based show doesn't have to be this sort of pure flicks Hallmark sort of thing. It can actually be a suspenseful horror themed documentary.
Yeah, that's right.
Our first tagline when we launched was the only streaming service with no content.
So we did.
That's
a great line. It's a really good line.
Yeah. And so when Dark Holler was the first thing to get on there, a lot of people said, well, it's probably not for me, but I'll check it out because it's all there is. And then they said, oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. I need more. And it was exciting to see it basically create fans just by being so good.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's definitely an audience for there's for kinds of entertainment that are outside of the box of what most people are trained through marketing dollars and executives to believe this is,
Yeah.
and the same is true on the political scale too, right? So this is a political documentary, right? So this is like a Dinesh D'Souza sort of thing, like that. Like, we have our political documentaries, and then we have our faith-based rom-com sort of thing, and you can't interchange those. Like you can't cross. I like to say you can't cross the aisles of the retail shelf. Just going back, like this was what was so crazy about the Christian hip hop movement that happened early 2000s to late 2000s, where because of iTunes, they didn't need record labels to get placed on the shelves of Walmart or the Christian bookstores. So you have this huge, like, just swing of like Christian hip hop music, and you have like Caleb, who's like, "Oh, we don't play that kind of music." Right? We play our same 3-chord worship songs, and so, but because the demand was so high, this new genre was just like basically forced upon people organically by viral word of mouth, and iTunes and downloads and stuff like that. It basically created this whole market that people just didn't think was like possible to even exist. And so I think that's true. And I think that remains true for the faith-based and conservative entertainment industry, where actually you can break through these categories of red, white, and blue, overtly red, white, and blue, and just tell good stories. And actually, I'll just say you actually have to do that, or you'll lose everything that you're trying to build.
Yeah. Well, what made that particular limited series really compelling were the characters. They were so real, very authentic. And then the pastor was a really likable guy. And again, there was no one, like, had that been a TLC, Bravo, History Channel, Discovery show, all the characters need to be caricatures and so over the top, and like everybody's just pretty mellow, even keel. So it's really refreshing to see a real story. And these people all believe what they saw. They all, like, none of them are. They're very convincing. But the pastor, especially, I just thought he was such a cool guy, and he was really like restrained, and he wasn't over the top, and you could tell
he wasn't a snake handler.
He wasn't a snake handler. Yeah, he wasn't a snake. He was so respectful of his position, his role in that whole equation. And even in the way he spoke about it was just so disciplined and respectful. And I was like, wow.
Because usually when you think of churches in West Virginia, snake handling is like at the top of the list. So, when you watch this, you go, oh, this is like it's a normal church. Like it's nothing weird about it at all.
Yeah.
And even the pastor, like you said, is like, they didn't teach us how to deal with this in seminary, right?
Yeah, he's so humble, and like it was like there was something so cool about him, being very honest, like, hey, this isn't my area, but I got to do what I got to do, and I've just got to figure it out. And
show the trailer.
Yeah, do we have it?
Yeah, I have the trailer.
I love that. That's what's so great about us being an entertainment company. We actually have the trailers to the shows we're talking about that are on our platform. Let's watch the trailer.
Are you going? Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to see it too.
Did y'all hear that?
You are in grave spiritual danger.
He dunks her into the water, and when she comes up, she like yells or like heaves.
Be in this hallway right here at night, you would be able to see somebody standing right here.
There was something or somebody looking in there, like the screams were like that. I mean, they didn't believe in this kind of stuff.
This area that we're living in at one point was under the dominion of other gods. And the first category that they had for it was generational curse. This is something that started somewhere else in your family, and it's been following.
Did you hear her talk about her uncle as a Satanist?
No.
There you go. Yeah.
So good.
So
Yeah, it's so good. And you could do 100 versions of that trailer because there's so many angles and there's so many kind of little twists and turns. That was the other thing. I thought the story was over, and then it's like, oh, and then they just go into this whole other realm, and then they interview the brother, and that guy was. That's when I was like, I don't want to be disrespectful, but that had to have been a tough family to grow up in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have been.
The other thing. This gets a little bit deeper, but I think why I think people should watch this film, regardless of where you stand on all of this. The fact that more and more young women are getting into Wiccan and the occult is a real thing. And whatever you want to think about that, or the commentary for, but the fact that so many young girls are getting into that, and that pop culture is making it very casual and fun. Oh, it's just white witch stuff. And,
oh yeah, on this season of Big Brother, there's an aura reader.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I never invite them to my dinner parties, by the way. Don't read my aura, please. That's a huge.
I always just go, hey, that's mine.
That's my aura.
That's my aura. What are you doing looking at it?
I did not give you permission to read my aura. How dare you?
I feel violated.
Yes, but anyways, highly recommend that series. I would get the subscription to Lore TV just for that series. It's so good. So it's kind of cool that was the only series for a moment.
Yeah, it was.
We got to do more of that.
And we've grown tons since then. There's a lot more stuff to watch, a lot more entertainment being funded, a lot more movies, TV shows, documentaries, cartoons, and a lot more to come too. So,
yeah. Oh, and this is a good time to announce on the program that we just acquired two more shows today, which I'm excited about. No, three. Sorry, three.
We did?
Yeah, I'm just gonna sort of tease it out, but they're good. They're all
fantastic.
One comedy short and two short documentaries, like 22 minute documentaries. Good stuff. I'm just gonna tease you. I'm gonna leave it at that. But it was a good acquisitions day. We have an awesome acquisitions team here. We take off.
We do. Yeah, well, that's super exciting news. I'm really excited about that, and there's a lot more to come with Lore TV as we doing a lot of work. I feel like we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. There's a lot of stuff going on as we basically what I've been saying is as we prep for scale.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on. You might not see on the front, on the public facing side, but on the back end, it's keeping us all up and busy and working a lot. So I'm super excited for what's happening and what's coming.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to see. Well, if you're a part of the Lore TV family, you received a cool email earlier this week. But the heart of that was we are promoting a new series that we have coming out from director Chris Shimajima, who was on the show last week, and super cool, like definitely kind of an Orwellian style, but he's doing a whole unique way of storytelling where he's really leaning on sound design, voiceover narration, and that sonic experience with just a sort of mild enhancement of visualization where
the trailer feels like it's in the horror genre too.
It feels like it's in the horror genre.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say about that, what's so cool is so we heard the trailer and we heard the first episode and we're like, wow, this is just amazing. And he probably just hired some friends to do the voices. It's like, and then we saw he's got a cast of like 70 people and really big heavy hitters, like actual like actors and actresses from Broadway to Broadway theater, cable television. And I was really surprised. And I think why I was excited about that was so many artists out there getting involved in projects like this that maybe a few years ago they wouldn't have touched because it didn't fit into the the mold of what's approved by mainstream media. And that project that Chris is doing, it's called Safe Society. So look it up, Safe Society. If he went to, I don't think if he went to Hulu or Tubi, Netflix, Apple, I don't think anyone would pick it up because it's just a little bit pushes the envelope, Only Lure TV will take that on.
Yeah, I think there's something really important about having a platform that's experimental, that allows art to be pushed and boundaries and genres created and expounded upon and improved upon. And so, there you have to have. I've been saying this for a while. We can talk about, all these political ideas, and whether it's a conservative resurgence or a resurgence of faith or whatever, revival, or whatever. Without, if it doesn't, if there's not art and culture that's the anchor point for those ideas, then it just goes away. It just disappears. And that's the difference between, you hear about like one-off revivals where there's this big thing and then it's just quickly forgotten about, versus like the Reformation, right? So you did have that theological aspect, but it was rooted in art and culture and music and books, the printing press, all of that sort of thing. They all kind of came together at once to create that movement, and it seems like on both sides it's either or. Like left has entertainment and culture, conservatives have talking points and facts and data, but the winner of this war that we're having is the one that comes together with both of them, and then everything else will be forgotten.
I was thinking about this today, like not all of us, but some of us like can remember when MTV was, this is kind of before MTV got super mainstream and commercial, but there was this like time where it was just really, it was cool. And it really didn't matter kind of where you came from, what side of the tracks, or whether you were a suburban kid, a country kid, or a city kid. It was definitely a cultural hangout, a club, if not a club, but a hangout. And when that went away, which a lot of that had to do with just cable sort of disappearing because people could go to their phones and short form, social media, whatever. But it doesn't mean that the idea of it died. It's just that it just sort of, MTV was probably the end of it. And then Vice, I think, tried to step in and be that thing, but Vice never really, like, I never knew anybody, a kid, even though Vice seemed larger than life and that Vice was out there and they did the HBO deal. I never met a kid that's like, oh my gosh, I watch Vice all the time. I just never heard that.
Right.
Not
well,
anything.
I think the kids who watched MTV, who grew up on MTV, they're the ones that watched Vice.
They might have, yeah. Like, but I guess the point is that because there hasn't been anything like it since, and anybody who's tried to do something like it, like maybe Quibi, two really super out of touch billionaires in Hollywood that tried to do it, and they were miserable at it. And then I don't want to name all the names because it's not nice to do that, but we know who some of the groups are out there that try to do it, but the reality is the people running it are just so out of touch.
Yeah.
And they're not really handing over the keys to you got to hand the keys over to the young people to do it. And that was the thing at MTV. I produced a lot of stuff for MTV, a lot of those like sports and music festivals and the specials. And when we were on set and shooting, the age range of that whole crew was like 22 to about 28, 29. And that was it. So the people making the programming we were all the same age as the people watching it.
And I think
I know for certain that is not the age demographic of people producing a lot of more broadly conservative entertainment and stuff like that. They're all
in the high 30s, 40s.
Even Joe Rogan, right? Like he doesn't have 20, and that's nothing negative about his show, but
Yeah.
yeah, you know, Tucker, Joe Rogan, all those guys, like
They're all older.
yeah, they're all produced by older people to target an older demo.
But the thing is that what's so cool about Lore TV is that, and see, I don't know if everybody realizes this yet, but there are really vastly talented 20-somethings, especially in that zone of like 20 to 28, like really mega talented. Not like, oh, you're talented for your age, keep doing it, kid. I mean, we're talking like they're ready for prime time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They have been, if you're like a 22-year-old filmmaker and you are just a rock star filmmaker, but you have no pedigree in Hollywood, no connection to Hollywood, and none of that, it's going to be almost impossible to get a deal, you know, unless if you're like Mr. Beast, right? And what's Mr. Beast? He's like, what is he, like in his 30s now or something?
Well, Mr. Beast is a content creator.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's an
example.
He's an example of a guy that leaped into the big leagues with $100 million show with them, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And he made, and I use the word rightly here. He made Amazon content. And so, you know, when you watch, which I did, I watched that stuff. I like
Beast,
you know,
Games.
Yeah, I watched Beast
ephemeral.
Games. But it's very like it's forgotten. Nobody talks about it anymore. And then while you're watching it, it's always like, and wait till the end, and wait till the end, and wait till the end. You know, just like YouTube.
The algorithm.
You know, and it's like, dude, just focus on the storytelling. The storytelling should make me want to wait till the end, right?
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't have to tell me. You know, I don't think there was a time like while I was watching Severance that I was like, I'm just not gonna watch to the end. You know, like you're like, I'm completely obsessed with a show, and I don't want it to end, and I'm gonna sit through 8 hours on a Saturday and watch all the episodes all at once. And the same is true with Breaking Bad. Like there was never a moment in Breaking Bad where Walter White looks at the camera and goes, and wait till you see what happens at the end. Like it just doesn't happen. And so that you know, that's a completely different.
It's just a device, though. It's just a device, you know, and it's the device that worked for him.
Do you have a trivia answer?
Oh yeah, Jason, I almost forgot. We sometimes when your trivia lesson setup is so robust that
we forget that there's no answer.
Number one, we forget that there's a question. We forget there's an answer, and we're just so delighted to have been fed all that rich information of pop culture and history that we're left not wanting anymore.
Not wanting anymore. You didn't have to wait till the end. Well, I think this is an instance or an amazing moment for our podcast, because if you look down at Eternal Life Now actually dropped the answer into
the chat.
The chat.
This is Tom Donahue, and you're listening to KMPX 106.9.
And so Tom Donahue walked into the studio after declaring that AM radio is dead, and he put on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band at the beginning and just let the album play. It was the very first time you ever saw any album-oriented playlist or album-oriented music on FM radio, and it became the way that FM radio built itself for about 4 years. Album-oriented radio was a thing, and then eventually the Suits and Haircuts got a hold of it and said, "Yeah, but you got to drop more ads in. You got to drop more ads in." But it introduced us to the LP, and it turns LPs into gold records instead of just the singles. It's a new way of consuming music.
Wow. Now, who got that? Who got that answer?
Eternal Life Now. It's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club, right?
You know, the chat. It was one of ChatGPT's answer, by the way. I should have read it. It said the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band does Coachella, which I just thought was a ridiculous answer. Chat would have still failed. That's a great album, by the way, and that's a great answer. Wow. Did you know, by the way, who was it? Eternal Life Now also made a note of how great the soundtrack is in Dark Holler, and I went and followed some of the artists. And that's Silky Smooth coming up next on KMPX. This is Tom Donahue.
But our band does have
Delilah. That's some Delilah.
Delilah.
Are we getting 90s hip hop?
We're getting 90s hip hop today, yeah, from our band.
Yeah.
From our band. But our band does have Delilah. That's some Delilah. Is this, are we getting 90s hip hop? We're getting 90s hip hop today, yeah, from our band. 90s hip hop.
Oh
Shall I play
man,
Yeah, let's do it.
let's do it. Volume up. It's pretty beat on right there.
Shake it out.
1 2 1 2
Got some R&B vibes.
1 2 1 2.
Static crackles through the wire. FM lit the signal higher. AM fades like a ghost retire. No more shoes off an airport attire. Flip the dial, feel the flow. FM radio steals the show. No more headlines, let it go. Dark collar demons keep it low. Flip the
This is silky smooth.
FM radio steals the show. No more headlines, let it go. Dark collar demons keep it low. No laces tied, no TSA stare. Walk on through like we don't care. Static fades, voices flare. FM loud in the open air. Dark colors creeping on my screen. Demons dancing through the scene. News don't matter, I stay clean. Life's a vibe, you know what I mean. Flip the dial, feel the flow. FM radio steals the show. No more headlines, let it go. Dark color demons keep it low. Flip the dial.
I hate to say it, but it reminds me very much of R. Kelly.
No,
Yeah.
man, no.
You ruined it. You ruined it.
You've ruined it, man.
I didn't ruin R. Kelly.
There's a P-
R.
there's
Kelly
Adobe
ruined R.
PDF
Kelly.
right there. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So Adobe Batman. That's one of my top 3 favorites of all the ones we've done.
Yeah,
I actually
that's
like the
good.
song. Good
Nice
lyrics.
jam.
Dark collar demons keep it low. Are you kidding me? That's some smooth beats.
And you're listening to KMVX. And this is John Donahue winding you down for that afternoon drive. Keep it alive and keep tuning in.
And be sure to go to Lore TV and subscribe and support independent artists and filmmakers who want to break the rules. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. We hope we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next